Welcome to the walkthrough of installing Deadline 6 render farm repository and database components from ThinkBox Software. I'm your support person, Dwight, here to walk you through the process. For this video, we'll be installing onto a Mac OS X system. First, you'll need to obtain the install files, which can be done by requesting them from our sales team by email at sales@thinkboxsoftware.com, and they'll send you a link. Once you have the DMG file downloaded, double-click it, and a window will pop up containing .app files for both repository and client. Choose the one you need and drag it to your desktop. If you are running Deadline 5 or earlier, you must install a fresh repository. You will need to provide a password to execute the installer. The installer will unpack temporary files it needs, which can take a few minutes. Once that is done, you will see the Deadline repository setup screen. Choosing Next will take you to the licensing agreement. Once you have read it and agreed, you'll move on to the next screen. Next, the installer will ask you the directory you'd like to install the repository to. There is a default, but you can put it wherever you'd like. Next, the installer will ask you if you'd like to install a new mongodb database on the machine or connect to an existing one. ThinkBox strongly recommends only installing the repository in mongodb on a 64-bit system, as 32-bit is known to cause many issues. 32-bit mode is only recommended for evaluation. Production environments must be 64-bit. If you choose to install it to a 32-bit computer, the system will warn you repeatedly against it. If you already have it installed, connect to an existing one. It will ask you for the server name, database name, port, as well as any authentication required for connection. If it is not installed, you will need to choose to install MongoDB, and the software will install it for you. Next, the installer will ask you where you'd like to install MongoDB. As usual, you can choose default or another location. Once the database is installed, it will then ask you to connect, and most info should automatically be filled in. Hit Next, and it will now configure the database, which takes a moment. Next, it will say it's ready to install, and we can go through the process of installing. And now that we have the repository installed, we will share it to the network so that any of our slaves or clients can see the repository. To do that, first we'll choose the Apple logo from the top left corner and choose System Preferences. You can also click the System Preferences icon in the dock. In the System Preferences window, click on the Sharing icon. Then click File Sharing in the list of services on the left. Click the plus button under the Shared Folders column to add a folder you wish to share. It may ask you to authenticate yourself. If you are unable to click the plus button, check to verify that the preferences are unlocked for changes via the visual lock being open or closed. If closed, click the lock and enter your password, and then try again. Select the Everyone user group. If it is not there, click the plus button under the Users column to add the group. Click the double-headed arrow to the right of a user group or group name and change its privileges to Read and Write. All users on the computer should have read and write access. Now you're ready to go, sharing the repository to the entire network. Thank you for watching this video. If there are other aspects of our software you'd like to see explained in a video, please do not hesitate to let us know. And of course, check out our website at thinkboxsoftware.com.